We're going to be now looking at cube roots. Before we get to the cube roots, we're going to look at actually cubed numbers that are cubed raised to the third power. Again, there's the exponent, right, that is telling me it's the third power or a cube. When we have cube roots and cubed, that is, we have some kind of a number, let's say number x, raised to the third power. Well, what is going to undo the cube? Right? We've talked about it with exponents, with squared. We have the radical, but the radical has to have that 3 in it, which was be looking like this. So cubed will cancel itself out with a cube root. You have to keep that in mind. Just like when we had a number squared, what will undo it, what will cancel it out, was the plain old square root. If you look in your calculators, they are in a separate places. We have a square in here, x to the second power, square root over there. They will cancel each other out. Cube and cube root, if you look, they're in green, right? Cube, x to the third power is above number 1. Cube root is above number 0. Make sure you know how to get to the stuff that is in green. The second button is going to take you to the secondary functions. So green will take you to the green. So make sure if you put a number in and you want to take a cube root of it, for instance, which is above 0, you have to press second function and then 0, and it will give you the answer. Now let's look at 1 to the third power. The exponent tells me how many times I'm multiplying that number by itself. So this means really 1 times 1 times 1, which equals 1. 3 ones multiplied by themselves. 2 to the third power, or 2 cubed. Number 2 multiplied by itself 3 times. 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 equals 8. 2 cubed is 8. 3 cubed. 3 multiplied by itself 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9 times 3 equals 27. Why we say cubed? Well, the word is actually in it. We actually are truly talking about a cube. When you have to find a volume of a cube, there is a formula. Cube, the base of it is a square, right? An area of a square is side times side, right? You used to say base times height or base times width. Now you know that square, every side measures the same. So we did side times side, or since it's 2 of the same kind, we said area equals side square. Now we have one more. We have to figure out how many of these squares are on top of each other. So we have to multiply it by its height. And if you look, if it's a cube, all the sides, all 3 sides measure the same. So the volume, to find a volume of a cube, we have to take side, multiply it by the side, and multiply it by the third side. It's side times side, multiplied how many times do we stack the square up. We can write it this way. Volume equals, since it's 3 s's, side to the third power, or side cube. If you have a problem like this and it's going to ask you to find a measure of a side of a cube, your first step that you have to write down is write down the formula. The formula of a cube is V, volume, equals side to the third power, or side cubed. In here, you are given what V is. V is actually 27. You need to find S. What is a measure of each side? So you will replace, you will substitute in the V with what a V is equal to. It says V is 27. So everywhere I see V, I will plug in 27. So I have 27, which is the V, equals side to the third power. What will undo cube? Well, that's easy. We've talked about it. Is that cube root. Make sure it has that 3 inside that little notch in there. So what I do one side, make sure you do on the other side. Now I know cube and cube root will cancel each other out, right? and I will be left with only with the S, with the letter S. Well, which three numbers multiplied by themselves will give me 27? If you don't have a calculator, you have to think about it. If you have a calculator, you plug it in and you would get it's 3. So each side of this cube measures 3 units or 3 feet. Sounds good? Now let's take this a little bit deeper, just a tiny bit. If I look, you should know what is this, right? 8 cubed, which three numbers by themselves multiplied by themselves give me 8. Well, in your calculator, you will get 2. In here, if it's negative, that is a possibility we can get that because it's three numbers, right? Multiplied by themselves, that will give me negative 27. Well, let's see. If I have just a cube root of 27, you will know if you put that in your calculator, you will get 3. Now, this is a negative, so I'm thinking right now it could be negative 3. I'm going to just check it. Negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3, right? 3 times a number. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. I still have to multiply it by a negative 3. Positive times negative is negative numbers, and 9 times 3 is 27. Negative 27 isn't that radical, right? So cube root of negative 7 indeed actually is negative 3. And just like with square roots, if I have a cube root of 1 over 64, let's look at that. And in some cases, I would suggest probably do grab a calculator. It will help you out. What you have in here is cube root of 1 over cube root of 64. Now I'm going to take a calculator so we can kind of practice it. So if I have a cube root of 1, well, that one is kind of easy, right? It's 1. 1 times 1 times 1 will give me 1. Cube root of 64. Well, I first in my calculator have to put in the number 64, and then I have to cube it. To get to cube root, I look, it's in green and it's above 0, right? Cube root. So I have 64 in. To get to the green, I have to press second, and then I hit number 0, and I will get the answer is 4. So this is my answer. We will step the game up just a little tiny bit, but it's not really all that difficult. We're going to be evaluating expressions. First, I'm going to look at this, and I notice right away there's a multiplication between a 2 and a cube root of negative 216. Now, what I will think is PEMDAS. I always want to write down on a side PEMDAS because I need to follow order of operations. Please remember these go hand in hand. And we go. Do we have any parentheses? No. Exponents or radicals? We sure do, right? So now I have to take care of them. I have 2 times cube root of negative 216. In my calculator, remember parentheses a multiplication, I'm going to put in negative 216. This is a negative button, right? This is a negative symbol. First I will put 216 and then I'll make it negative. My calculator now has negative 216 in. I have to take a cube root of it. Cube root above 0. So go to secondary functions, hit 0, and I will get negative 6. So I took care of my exponents, right? And radicals. Now it says do multiplication. 2 times negative 6 is negative 12 minus 3. No division, no addition. I have a subtraction. Negative 12 minus 3 is negative 15. And here's the answer.